Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is an update for the Project 100 Uses Project Pan, which I'm very excited about. This is one of my favorite projects that I am doing. If you are new, I hope you will subscribe because I love project panning and shopping my stash. I created this project based on Too Much Tosh's 100 Club, where I pick powder makeup products, pretty much all face palettes and eyeshadow palettes, and try to get to 100 uses. I do this instead of a pan that palette, but I'm also doing the project level up as well with eyeshadow palettes. Now, I'm not keeping track of usage on every palette in my collection, but on quite a few. So I am pretty excited. I did get to 100 uses on a new palette in this video, and let's get started. I don't update on every palette in each update because that would take too long. But I just kind of picked some out to give you my updates on, and then I'll show you the one that I got to 100 uses. So first up is the Natasha Denona Bronze Palette, and I have used this 48 times since I have purchased this palette. This is one of my favorite palettes, so I really should be using it more. I do also have this in a separate project pan where I'm trying to hit pan on a shadow. Probably this one is what I'm going for, but obviously I have not yet hit pan. But any usage in that project will obviously count towards the 100 uses. But yeah, at this point, I am at 48 uses on this palette. All right, the Kaja stack is in this project, and that is in the shade Spiked Ginger. So it's a trio of 3 eyeshadows. And I've used this 8 times. I haven't had it for that long. I bought it in January. So yeah, this has 3 different shades. I think there's just, yeah, this one, Shimmer, and the last one is a matte. It's not like the most exciting color story, but I am actually enjoying this. I think the formula is good and the colors are really nice. It is nice and compact. So actually I think this would be good for travel now that I'm thinking about it. And for usage, I always mention in these videos that if I just use one eyeshadow one time, that counts as 1 use. Or like if I were to use the whole palette or this whole trio to create a look, that would still just count as 1 use. So yeah, I'm at 8 uses on the Kaja stack, but I am enjoying it and I'm glad that it's in this project because I tend to not put like little things like this in this project. I don't really have many quads or anything like that in this project. It tends to be larger palettes. So I thought that was, you know, a good little addition to this project. All right, next up is the Blend Buddy Cosmetics Primal Palette, and I am at how many? 16 uses. I have it written down in front of me. I cannot remember. I really like this palette. It's really colorful, but actually you can also do some more subdued looks with it as well. But these are bold, these are pigmented. I really like the Blend Bunny formula. I have this one and one other palette from the brand, and yeah, this one is lovely. So 16 uses on this one, and actually the other day I used this matte white as an inner corner highlight, which is not something I do a lot, but I really like how that looked. So I may start doing that more often because I feel like usually I do a shimmer inner corner highlight, but the matte white, it was kind of cool looking. So yeah, really enjoy this palette. All right, next up is the Fantasy Cosmetica Bard palette, and this one I've used 14 times. Oh, I keep saying these are like my favorite palettes, but I love a lot of my palettes. And obviously like in this project, I'm trying to get my money's worth out of palettes. So I'm definitely picking some of my more favorite and more expensive items for this project. So this is the Bard palette. This is another brand that has just an amazing formula, like super high pigment, but easy to work with. Their metallics are gorgeous. So yeah, and they came out with that new palette, the Fighter palette. That one looks really nice, but I'm trying not to buy it right now because, you know, I have enough eyeshadows. But my other Fantasy Cosmetica palette is also in this project. This one is the Druid palette. This one, I've only used it 10 times since I bought it. Also amazing though, really gorgeous. I love these like green shades. This shade is a duochrome. So good, amazing formula. So yeah, this one I've only used 10 times, not as much, but definitely need to pull it out again soon. All right, Natasha Denona, the My Dream palette. And I have gotten to 100 uses on several of my Natasha Denona palettes in this project pan because I've been doing it for several years. And for the My Dream, I am now at 60 uses on this, which is pretty exciting. I love this palette. It really is one of my favorites. I mean, Natasha Denona is one of my favorite brands, although definitely some of these indie brands are just as good, if not better than Natasha Denona. But the My Dream is gorgeous. I love the color story. You can do like neutral looks. You can do dramatic. You can do a lot with this palette. So yeah, definitely excited that I'm getting use on this one. All right, then we have the Sigma New Mod. And this one I am at how many? 61 uses on this one. Another really good, amazing palette. It's stunning. It's gorgeous. This one may not look like I've used it that much because I have used this shade a lot to set my eye primer. I know that is so boring, but it's a necessary step that I do every single day. And it just so happens that I've reached for this shade a lot. And I'm kind of picky at what shade I use to set my eye primer down with. It sounds so simplistic, but I don't know. It's got to be like a good one. It can't be too white. And it can't be like too yellowy. So I don't know, this one in this palette, you can't even see it. But yeah, you can actually see there's quite a dip going on this one. I mean, obviously I've still used the rest of the palette, but I've used that shade a lot, which again, I know is boring, but it's essential and it counts as using the palette. Right, and then we have the Sigma Warm Neutrals. And this one I have used 36 times since I have purchased it. And another great palette. I have used this shade to set my eye primer too, not as much obviously as in the new mod, but this is a good one too where I just want like easy light browns to like blend other shades out with, like these two, or like I often use like this on the lower lash or this on the lower lash. Very lovely palette. Also, there's, yeah, this shade I like as an inner corner highlight quite a bit. So yeah, I mean, I often combine different palettes to get a look because yeah, I might use something else for the lower lash. I might use something else for the inner corner. So that's just how I do my makeup. And I have so many palettes. It's like, hey, I want to get use out of these palettes. So, you know, makes sense. And the one that I got to 100 uses on is actually a face palette. And it is the Natasha Denona. No, it's not Natasha Denona. What am I saying? It's Charlotte Tilbury. I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay, it's the Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm palette. So I have officially used this over 100 times since I purchased it. I really love this face palette. I love both bronzer contour shades. I love the highlighter. I love the shimmery blush. Out of this, I've probably used the highlighter and the blush more than I have used the bronzer contour shades. But I still love these. But yeah, this is probably my most used item in this palette, and this is my second most used. But this is a good face palette. So I got to 100 uses on it, which is exciting. This is expensive. I mean, I'm pretty sure full price, this is $75. I think I got this at a Sephora VIB sale like 2 years ago when that came out or whenever that happened. I don't remember. I can't keep track of these things. But so I didn't pay full price, but it's still expensive. So obviously I'm going to continue to use the palette, but I'm not going to track my usage. Okay, so then I was like, should I add something else into this project? Because the last couple updates, I did add a new palette in. So I was thinking about it, and I think I want to add the Sydney Grace Unbreakable Bond palette. Sydney Grace is one of my favorite formulas for eyeshadow, and this palette is absolutely stunning. I'm pretty sure I've only used it like 5 times though, because I haven't had it for this long. This one I actually did get in PR from them. So yeah, haven't had it for that long. I've only used it 5 times. So it seems like a good palette to put into this. And it's also one of my favorite brands. So absolutely gorgeous color story. There's a lot of options here for like, you know, I could use some of the lighter shades. Like I could use this on the inner corner. I could do lower lash line with some of these. So there's a lot of options, but of course I can do full looks with this palette too because it is amazing. And I love the Sydney Grace shimmers, like absolutely stunning. I did recently purchase from their Christmas and July sale, and I should have a haul on those items up by now. But this one I already had. I didn't get this in the Christmas and July sale. So yeah, I'm going to put this in the project. So it will be starting at 5 uses because I do like to do the uses from when I first bought the palette. And because I haven't had this one for that long, you know, I know that I have used it only 5 times. But it's really, really good. That is it. I am pretty excited. I love this project. I love makeup and I love getting good use out of my makeup. And if you want to see more Project Pan videos, check out the Project Pan playlist. I will link that. And like I said, I will put Too Much Tosh in the description box because she inspired me to create the Project 100 Uses based on her 100 Club series. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day.